Hello everyone, I'm Mike DeAngelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your video review of Sonic Colors by Sonic Team. It's difficult to see a childhood hero fall so far, and nearly everyone is ready to lift them back up. For Sonic the Hedgehog, the journey has been devastating, and yet he still trudges on. Throughout the years, we've seen Sega's mascot dwindle down to nothing, with the hopes that he could drag himself out of his rut. We've seen attempts made to bolster the series, with games like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic Unleashed. But, besides the retro-styled Sonic 4, nothing has seemed quite so ready to restore the Hedgehog to his glory days like Sonic Colors. The idea is to rebrand Sonic as the basic platformer of his initial forays into gaming, utilizing clever level design and speed as the emphasis, and relying on power-ups to help elaborate the experience. The title straddles the line between catering to hardcore players and newer, younger fans. But, in this day and age, is it possible to please both? In a way not unbefitting of a mustached evil video game doctor, Eggman has renounced his old ways and claims that, in repentance, he is developing a galactic amusement park that spans several artificial planets. Not exactly willing to go on the doc's word, Sonic and Tails head into space to find out what the villain is really up to. There, they find that Robotnik is up to his old tricks, but instead of capturing fuzzy little woodland creatures to use in his army, he's capturing squishy little aliens to drain out their essence, to power his wily inventions. It isn't long before Sonic is enlisted to try to help the seemingly helpless creatures out. It's a retread of the same old Sonic story, but it almost seems to breathe new life into what's already been established. It's sometimes simple, sometimes humorous, but almost always interesting.
Oh, I was reconfiguring my hand.
Colors switches from a few different styles, including the tried and true side-scroller vantage and a third-person view. Throughout all the game, Sonic races forward. When switching from different viewpoints, things can get a little bit tricky. It isn't that the controls are difficult to use, just possibly a little hard to accept. Sonic's reflexes are instantaneous, and it takes a while to get used to. Believe it or not, the slower segments are what can be rage-inducing. Some movement requires such precision that you'll be ready to tear your hair out after the 10th time you miss a nickel-width platform. As much as the speed changes, and as much as the view varies, the length of the stages fluctuates as well. Some stages go on for what feels like 10 minutes, especially as you explore every nook and cranny. Others feel like you just started them, and already you're finished. The main concept of this title's gameplay is the colors, or the aliens called Wisps. Each Wisp provides Sonic with a different limited use ability. The bare-bones Wisps allow Sonic to boost, yellow Wisps turn Sonic into a drill, and blue Wisps function sort of like P-blocks from the Mario franchise, and there are plenty more to play around with as well. When you play this game, you realize just how good it looks, but it might not sink in right away. Yes, this is a Wii game, and it does look almost as good as Nintendo's own space platformer. Some scenes in the game pull far away from the action to give you a good idea of the scope of all the detail, as if the developer was saying, yeah, we did this. This is arguably the best looking Sonic game to date. The music is catchy too, maybe not as much as the classics, but still, it's more than competent in its own right. Even the sound feels like it has real purpose to it, even when it's a little disguised. The only questionable aspect of the presentation might be the voice work. If you're like me, you long for the days of silence, when hedgehogs didn't need to make terrible jokes about his enemies. Still, some of my dissatisfaction with that might rest on the script as well. What's becoming the norm for most games nowadays has already carried over to Sonic. When you move on to new levels, the previous ones remain available to you, allowing you to try to get a better score and rank, as well as finding hidden red rings that unlock special features later in the game. The levels themselves are often sprawling, with dozens of paths to choose from, and plenty of ways to get there thanks to the Wisps. The game also features some interesting multiplayer, and a simulation mode that lets you team up and use cool abilities. While nothing can really hold up to some of the games from Sonic's golden years, Colors shows without a doubt that Sega's mascot is still relevant, and can still hold his own in a game. Colors is fun, fast, and can take up a lot of your time without eating up too much of your patience. It's probably the best game for Sonic since the days of the Sega Genesis, a welcome return to form with some new surprises. That's Entertainment awards Sonic Colors a score of 8.5 out of 10.